Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and returning from Vegas, still alive somehow, despite gambling on Fremont Street all weekend and whatever the hell happened at the airport on Sunday morning, Mr. Andy Molitor. Overall, it sounds like it was a successful trip, although your pockets may be a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I didn't win. I did not come home super rich. Also forgot to buy my family presents. Well, you just space that. So I gave each of the kids $100. I had a bunch of cash. Like, does this work? And like, yeah. So like we went to the toy store last night. They got shit. So otherwise, I'm feeling good, looking good. And yeah, the airport, there was a bit of a kerfuffle. Um, Apparently in the morning, it's like there was an active shooter at the airport, and now that's under control and it's a mess down there. I'm like, oh, good, this will be good. And then later they said it was just a loud noise and people panicked. But apparently they pushed a bunch of people who'd been through security back the other way. So then just like the amount of people that had to go through security all at once was rough. Like if anyone's been to McCarran, it's actually Harry Reid International right now. I'm not said about promoting Harry Reid, I guess, but it is a line once you get into the gates to go up, the escalators to get to the actual gate part, and the escalator pointing this way, the line was all the way to the other side, and like vice versa. It was rough.
Usually that's an efficient airport. Like, they're pretty good at getting people through, but wow.
Yeah, I'm not. They opened up every security line. It was flying through there, which it needed to be because the lines were obscene. I ended up. I'm not the guy who gets there like 3 hours ahead of time, but I know how long things take, and I'm willing to. Being late gives me anxiety, so I get there with a decent amount of time. And I got to the gate, and there was like 5 or 10 minutes left of boarding before they closed the doors. Like I was stressing a little, but also
they didn't call your name. That's what's scary.
When I checked in, and here's a little bit of alpha for this. When I checked in on the kiosk when I got to the airport there, flying Delta, it said gave me the indication that maybe the flight was oversold, and they said, "Hey, would you be willing to volunteer to take a later flight?" Yeah, there's slots here. There's good rest. There's a Chili's. There's absolutely a Chili's. So I'll hang out, and it said it has you enter an amount. So that you enter the amount. When you do that, just hit 8 as many times as it'll let you and put it in. It's just like how we used to figure out the max bet on 5 dimes. Like, you can't bet $11 million on the Colts this week. It would say the max bet it'll do the same thing, and it'll tell you it was 800. So then I'm like, yeah, I'd stay a couple extra hours for $800 voucher, whatever. Didn't end up doing it. Got home all right, but otherwise, yeah, it was a fun weekend of meeting up with some people who we wanted to meet with, watching a bunch of preseason football. That was great, and yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what we get this week, as there was a lot of points last week. It was upsetting for anyone who thought maybe we'd see some. There was a certain person in the library who thought we'd see some regression over the weekend on that after like a 5-0 start to the overs, and I think it went like 14-2 or 13-3 to the over.
I saw some tweet about so if you're a 3-team 10-point teaser guy, there's whatever all those combinations were for overs, they all hit. Like, it was like 600 and some combinations. It was 600 and something and 0.
Yeah. I think during the entire preseason, if you bet closing lines, like the Cowboys lost 17-7. That was it. As far as like 6-point teasers, like everything is just hit all the time. So exciting that we got football. Some of it was, not great football, but it was fun to see. This is the time of year where you answer a lot of questions. It's just like anything else. We got to actually see this. We've been doing previews for a month. And there, at the end of the preview, it's just like, well, here's our levels of uncertainty with all these things. And, you're not actually going to find the answers in preseason, but you'll start to get some inklings, or at least be able to form some thoughts on that. Good news. I bet I just don't have a lot to bet right now. So I've been tailing some people, and I knew I wouldn't have a chance to play all of Vinny's tennis, because it's just, he's a volume better, and I would be in Vegas, and doesn't jive
Yeah.
with me. Drinking all day and trying to enter a bunch of ITF picks. So I'm like, well, I'll play his outrights for the week then. And he had Halep 12-1. So like Drew was asking me
Did you
about
play the
that.
middle hedge? He middled it.
Oh, I know he middled it too. But we were watching Halep down a set to Pagula, and he's like, I'm thinking about betting her live here. And I'm like, oh shit, I think I pretty much have already. I'm like, I think I have an outright. I'm like, this is a semifinal, isn't it? I'd kind of forgotten about it, but so congrats. That was a nice weekend because of that. Zalatoris, I got him at 25-1. Had a nice weekend in golf outrights and matchups. And then God, what was the other one too? This is the thing that I think I find myself doing more and more as someone who pays attention. But when something happens and the market isn't going to adjust to it right away, you can probably find some value. I had forgotten about this until I started just updating all my shit from the weekend. And it's like, oh, Sung JM, top Asian, look at you. And kind of because he was an outright, and Morikawa played. Morikawa is not Asian. I was mix up Morikawa and Matsuyama because they all end in A's and start with M's. But Matsuyama pulled out of the tournament and was your top Asian co-favorite, essentially. They didn't pull him out of the market. So you can bet Sung Jae at a pretty good number. And I'm glad I didn't actually track that one because between him and Tom Kim, it was really neck and neck all weekend. So pretty jacked about that. World Juniors.
Most importantly, Willie did it.
Willie did it.
Willie did it.
Willie ever?
Congratulations to everybody.
Yes,
hope you continue to pay the Zal tax. Kudos to Cal, who came on the deep dive to talk some golf, and it's just like he just has to clean up the putting, and then it's over. And man, he was hitting everything. That looked beautiful on yesterday. Did you get to see any of that, or did they have little TVs on the plane?
Well, that's the thing. I promised, like, I was home by the end, but then I promised, like, that we could go to the toy store with those hundreds. And I'm like, oh no, a playoff. So I'm at the sporting goods store there's an area.
Yeah, sure. Go whatever you want.
No. There's a TV in the golf section that has golf on. So I'm by like the part where they sell putters and there's a tiny little practice screen. I'm standing, and the best part is there's like another dad with his kids, and his kids like, just keep putting, kids, as he's watching. And I think he had some Zal too, because he was pissed when Straka made his like 7-footer there on the second hole. But yeah, I watched that at Shields. If anyone wanted to know where I watched the end of the golf tournament, congrats to Zal. That was super awesome. And second week of the playoffs. And thanks to our favorite mulleted Australian pulling out, there will be 69 golfers this week.
Nice.
You should be 70, but Cam Smith with some hip discomfort / I'm going to play for live / they gave me a 2-stroke
big checkitis
rounds. Yeah, so F you for that.
He's sick with a cash influx.
Penalty. Yeah. Did you Plus EV Analytics, our guy,
got a bad cash infusion.
He did the Simpsons reference, the Krusty, like, yeah, I'm moving to a bigger house, but he was like, yeah, I have a hip discomfort from all this money in my pocket. And it cracked me up pretty good. But yeah, it's same kind of thing. This is a majors level field. And as I tweeted from the Golf Scout, minus the old people, because it is just your top 70 FedEx point scores. So everybody who is anybody is here. Rory, Cam Smith, like we said, is your main name that's going to be missing. But Finau has been playing amazing. John Rahm snuck his way into essentially contention. Made a few more things go right or wrong, and he's actually competing for this tournament last week. Scotty Scheffler is still a very, very good golfer. I mean, look at all these names that are under 20-1. It's going to be another tough week to pick a winner. I did play some Morikawa at 25. That was it. So far, I don't actually usually play Monday outrights. I kind of wait for some sharper books to open, but I expect it to be a little less elsewhere. I know some people got some 28s. Good for them. But 25-1, I would be fine cashing at 25-1 2 weeks in a row. That's what I got on sale. I'm probably going to be very light on outrights and just heavy on matchups again, and do some live betting in this tournament. I mean, there was people that were able to get Zal at like 100-1 after I don't know what spot in the tournament, but live betting when the guy doesn't have a good round one, you're able to find some good stuff. So, oh yeah, in the comments or in the whatever have you, the YouTube chat, let me know if you bet anybody. And then Jeff Noonan and I will be doing our golf show tomorrow sometime, and we'll talk about everybody we've bet outright. I should just be that dick who just only bets one and just lets those guys talk for an hour. No. But Wilmington, Delaware, not a lot. Not
Close
a lot
to
of.
me.
Yeah, go check out Ron's preview over at BetSports Golf. If you need to get a little in, I think everybody could use a little extra information on this course. This is not something that's in your normal rotation. This is a tournament that moves around. So BMW starts Thursday.
Yeah, Wilmington, the unofficial headquarters of every corporation in America.
Yeah, pretty much. Or in Canada. I think even I know a guy who
Canadians
works at a
down here?
startup. Yeah, I know a startup in Canada that's like, oh, this is actually an American company. We're based in Delaware.
Do we know that the startup company?
Of course you are, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They bet some tennis.
Speaking of, there's something in here in the chat. Finland is doing something against Canada. This has to be hockey related, right?
Yeah, World Juniors. Finland has been good. All right, you talk tennis. I'm gonna go do some research on that.
All right, you poke around on that.
Cincinnati, and are you betting Vancouver as well?
Well, we have to bet Vancouver because it's a return of, possibly the queen of the tennis chat, Andy.
And West Coast. I mean, just West Coast tennis, nighttime tennis again.
It is going to be great. But 2 tournaments again, one in Cincinnati, and then the smaller event is in Vancouver. Just a bunch of stuff to start with. I tweeted out some outrights. You can go find that on my account at _Noops. All that stuff is started, so you'll probably have to wait till late tonight, maybe early tomorrow morning to get some of those in. But I'm sure some of the numbers I sent out yesterday will still be around. But single match bets, Cincinnati will start. This first one's going to be up pretty quickly, about 15, 20 minutes after we wrap the show here. Anisimova, Kasatkina under 21.5. And we might lose this in 3 sets. We might win this in 3 sets. Both women, you go back and look, have been playing really short sets this year. And the matches that they've played, historically, they've played 3, I think maybe 4 times. We haven't come close to this number. For whatever reason, I think that whether it be Anisimova not generating quite the power that Kasatkina is used to having to direct, or Kasatkina not really being able to do much better than Anisimova can. Either way, the matches have been quick. They both play really fast sets. I thought about maybe some set unders here, but just really like this under 21.5. I had this at, a cheap 21, probably 20.5. I was going to set it myself. So like that. That will start shortly. Sarah Sorabis Tormo up about 30, 45 minutes after we finish the show here. Even money against Allison Risk. Risk getting a little too much credit, I think, for some solid play in Toronto. Yes, she has the ability to play well. These are the fastest outdoor hard courts in all of tennis. Balls really fly here, but for whatever reason, historically, she's done really, really poorly here. I would think that her serve and volley game would translate well here, but it generally doesn't. She loses here pretty constantly to lower level competition, and Tormo is quietly putting together a nice year on hard courts. I'm happy to take her at plus money. I have her a short favorite there. Leila Annie Fernandez playing her way back into a little bit of form now that we're in a hard court season. Goes up against Alexandrova now. Kind of a similar handicap to the last one in that Alexandrova's game should translate really well here. But Fernandez just overall the better player to me. I look at similar matches and things like that. I don't think Fernandez is going to struggle with Alexandrova's serve. And Katarina generally does better indoors. And even though this is fast, she still generally struggles being outdoors. So give me Fernandez here as the shorter favorite, minus 135. I had this closer to minus 160. Sloane Stephens, plus 140. Sloane Stephens having a pretty down year, but not really sure why she's an underdog to Alizé Cornet, let alone out to like plus 140. I had this pretty close to a pick 'em. I started to tweak some stuff. I could see maybe how you make a case for Cornet being a minus 10, minus 15 sort of favorite based on what she's done the last couple weeks, but happy to take Sloane Stephens here, plus 140. She generally applies herself this time of year, knowing that, you got to have some ranking points so you can keep playing in these tournaments. So plus 140 looks like a really nice number to me. I'd play that as low as, honestly, plus 125. And then tomorrow, not sure when this is. It could be before the show starts, so want to get this in. Marie Buzkova playing Coco Gauff. They got the full match total right here at 21.5, and it's starting to move towards 22. But the first set over was set at 9.5 games, and there's even an even money 9.5 out there. I find this perplexing. I've talked about it for a couple weeks. If you've got these matches at 21.5 and heading towards 22, this number should be 10, and definitely not 9.5 at anything standard juice or less. So poke around. Bookmaker has this. Bovada has this. A handful of regulated books have this. I believe FanDuel has it. I didn't get a chance to check the number there, but handful of picks there in Cincinnati. And then, yes, Andy, we go to the West Coast, to Canada, to one of the places it's kind of I need to get. I hear Vancouver is absolutely gorgeous. And we're going to play Heather Watson, someone who pretty streaky, but is starting to play herself in a little bit of form, and goes against Elizabeth Cochiretta, who seems to be getting a ton of credit here in the market for clay results. She's had a terrible year playing on hard courts, worked her way into form, basically blitzkrieged through clay season, winning a bunch of lower level ITF events, putting together just a really great record. But I don't really care about that. It's hard court season here. This is the time of the year, again, Watson plays pretty well in some of these North American events. And I'm not sure if this is the first time we played Vancouver, but it's certainly the first time I remember handicapping this tournament. So we'll see how the courts look. I like Watson here. Again, I have this closer to a pick'em. And then the queen of the tennis chat, the queen of Canadian tennis, Abo, Bouchard, Jeannie Bouchard, depending on how you know her. You may be more familiar with her work as an Instagram model, but still does very well playing tennis and is an underdog here simply because we haven't seen her play tennis in a very long time. Has taken a hiatus, coming back now. Did get a chance to play some doubles last night, I believe won, and goes up against Hartano here, a young player who really doesn't have much here. I guess she's the favorite simply because she's been playing tennis. Give me Jeannie as plus money here. Now, maybe she loses this match, but I think she probably wins and probably wins comfortably here. If she does, it's going to be pretty quick, and I think in 2 sets. So give me Jeannie plus money. I would honestly have her the favorite, even though she hasn't been playing. And then the minus 1.5 sets, or Jeannie to win 2-0, as it's worded some places, plus 250. Some places will also have, will a player win a set, yes, no? So you got to bet no on Hartano there. So might have to get creative looking for that, but there's a lot of different ways to word it. So some Cincinnati tennis, some Vancouver tennis. You basically start watching tennis around 11 o'clock Eastern, Andy, and you're good till bedtime.
Yeah. So I asked, sometimes this guy works, so Kelly, Big Ten Watto, sometimes he's not answering DMs as fast as I'd like because I need his information live on a show. But so that pisses me off. But I will say too, I tried to pull up Cincinnati odds for the men, and when I clicked it, they were down at the moment because of, I'm pretty sure there's probably some qualifying or maybe even some tennis going on right now where outright prices. So outright prices were down, but they were still up for the U.S. Open, which, if you don't know, is coming right up here, early September every year up there in New York. And it's like we joke about with Kenny Pickett being the favorite in the Rookie of the Year market. Like, hey, it should have an extra 0 because he may not play any games. I get he's a quarterback, and he's the quarterback that's probably most likely to see snaps. But even that, I might argue Ritter has a better chance to see snaps if Mitch plays okay. So I don't think you have a favorite who's at a reasonable price. I really, really don't think we're going to see vaccination rules change at the U.S. Open. I don't think Joker plays at all. And Kelly brought this up, and he liked this at plus 250. There's plus 275s for Meds to win. And Grant, again, some of the market is getting gobbled up by some unique names. Like, I get that he played this one tournament really good, guys, but Nick Kyrgios at 6-1 to win a slam is probably a bit aggressive. Like, and that's not everywhere. I just had to laugh at some of these prices. Like Med should be your guy, and it does get a little forgotten because he didn't get to play in some tournaments due to his affiliation with the Russian state, but it's not his fault. Like, that just sucks for him because I don't think he's like some pro-war hawk asshole from Russia. That's where he's from, and that was the reality of the situation. His price is probably a little goofy. I'm going to play some plus 275 today, and then just because Patrick sent me into a tailspin, I was going to make the joke of I looked at the results of the Canadian under 20 and the Finnish under 20. I'm like, it's a good bet. Both teams to score, like in soccer. And that's a bet you can make. So I played both teams to score in the second period, which is that's your scoring period, right? Because they have had some higher scoring matches. That's how ingrained that's how soccer has me here. But they've played a couple games here, and I mean, Canada's only given up 4 goals, but they've given up at least 1 in every match. I don't know how it feels about the second period, but that's I play second period over sometimes. So small bet on both teams to score in the second period. I think what was that? A Bovada. Yeah, I mean that's where you go to get horrible bets like that.
That's where you go for the deli menu. God bless those folks.
Yeah, just everything. They have everything.
Way to go,
so
Pat.
you've talked me into degenning stuff. So the Clearasil Cup, Andy McNeil. Yeah, I like that a lot. So that's it. It's Monday. I'm done calling it a day. I got a meeting to go to and some coffee to drink in my life to reevaluate after a Vegas trip. So I will. I'm gonna go watch some tennis on one screen, have a meeting on the other, and hopefully see some Twitter likes and some YouTube likes come in. If you enjoyed the show, let us know again who you're betting in the comments. If you didn't get to catch us live, I'd love to hear who you decide to bet on today, and appreciate you all. We'll catch you Tuesday.